RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Woohoo party! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Woohoo! Oh, there's an intro for you. Welcome back to the frivolity, everybody. Crazy market here, eh? Hope you're enjoying the fireworks and the wild ride. It appears that risk is very much back on. I'm trying to load up the YouTube page here, though, to see what the heck it is I'm saying here and what my little daily itinerary needs to be. And my YouTube page here is just frozen. So that's not a good sign. I'll kind of ad-lib it. Hopefully this thing loads here in the next minute or two. But I know we like to start off with a quick boo at the dashboard and what the breadth of the market is trying to tell us. And interestingly enough, we're just kind of sort of flatlining here. In fact, you can't even see the slow on this chart here. These are kind of crappy charts. Seard wants to move away from this service, but I suppose we'll get there one day. Anyway, but the point here is you can see slow is just sort of bumping along here right on the 40 line here. And fast is kind of wiggling around. We were under, we were over, we were under, and I wouldn't be surprised by the end of today that we're back over. So from this kind of scenario, actually, this is, it could break either way, either bullish or bearish. And the Econs here coming out today, actually, I think support the bullish case. I do find it interesting, though. Jesus, stupid YouTube. That there are actual central banks cutting interest rates here. I don't think you're going to see it out of the US. The Econs here actually even today coming out. We had ISM services, PMIs, and services business activity and employment, new orders, prices, composite PMI. Oh boy, what a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah. But as you can see, none of these data points are coming in weak at all. The headline number here, which, probably the market is most interested in, whenever you see these red dot here, that actually came in expansionary and actually beat expectations handily. And remember, 50 is is sort of the magic number. Above 50 is expansion, below 50 is contraction. And I don't see any. I guess we have one here, the services employment, which is fascinating, right? The central bank, planners and banksters, whatever the hell you want to call them, they want to, of course, kill the employment market. And, we talked about the JOLTS reports yesterday. Actually, we had a really interesting conversation in the SOF club meeting last night. Looking at some of the data, it basically does paint that the consumer right now is not happy whatsoever, which is interesting because it's almost like maybe we're in an environment where the baby boomers have fully retired. Of course, they're sitting on all the money. Hell, there's even greatest generation clowns still alive. And the baby boomers are waiting for their inheritance from them. So millennials, Gen X, especially my generation, good luck. You're going to be waiting a long time for your inheritance, if there's any, at the end of all this crazy ass world that we live in here. But the point of the matter here is that things like, and this is what really jumped out at me, the services business activity. And this would be in line with, servicing the baby boomers in their retirement. So, things like Ubers and, probably, cleaning house services and, our buddy Adam out of Sacramento, he's got like 6 different jobs. The guy just works constantly, which, I suppose when you're young and you might as well and make as much money as possible. And then he's going and piling it all into all of our poop coins, and geez, he's making a fortune there. So anyway, point of the matter here is one of his jobs is he likes to deliver groceries to people, and there are a lot of people, he's saying, in the Sacramento area, in their retirement, that kind of thing, that don't want to go to grocery stores anymore, and they'll be more than happy to pay Adam to go and do their groceries. So that's the kind of business that I think is going to really flourish in this sort of aging economy. So it doesn't really surprise me to see things like the services business activity. This number is just exploding higher. I mean, this is insane. That's a big jump for these kind of ISM reports. You can see they usually move like incrementally. So to see that kind of monstrous jump means that the, like I said, grocery delivery, dry cleaning services, Molly maids, all that, probably healthcare, for the seniors, all that kind of stuff. That part of the economy is booming right now. And to put it all together, I would make the argument there is no way in hell the Fed can lower interest rates in the face of this. It's the economy is just too strong. Um, what is interesting is to see all these ancillary, like we've talked about this for a long time. Any country that is commodity related is a short. It's, a lot of these countries, especially countries like Russia, who don't even reinvest in their infrastructure. We always used to joke about how half of the Russian machinery is all rusting out from underneath them. The oligarchs, they just collect the oil revenues. They don't bother reinvesting in new products. What they do is they con these Western companies to come in and do JVs with them. The Western companies fund all the infrastructure development, and then mysteriously you have one of these. Oh, let's go and invade our next door neighbors and piss all the Western nations off, and they all just abandon the country and leave all this wonderful infrastructure that they invested in. That's pretty much business as usual for a country like Russia. And of course, that pisses all the Russians off that I talk about here. But anyway, so I would argue, Canada is not nearly as bad as that kind of scenario. But at the same time, too, Canada derives a lot of its revenue, federally from royalties and stuff on natural resources that are pulled out of the ground. And I don't know whether you've noticed recently, but oil prices, I think the oil market is done here. And I think it was sort of like artificially propped up because of this funny little war in Eastern Europe. And now it kind of looks like Russia's got its hands full now with this war, because it looks like the Ukrainians now are fully armed and ready to start fighting back in earnest. But it's another conversation for another day. Point here is that it's interesting to see that. I mean, you've heard me go on endlessly about China and the absolute insanity here. They've actually gone and cut interest rates in China because, of course, the housing market is the only asset and the only market here that really is of any substance in China right now. I would actually make the argument that we probably have to work our way back to Canada being what it historically has been, which is a commodity producer and supplier to the biggest economic engine in the world, the United States. And I think the United States, its economy has fully recovered from the great financial crisis, which is just a load of horse hockey. It was simply the US banks got themselves into too much trouble, and the whole world basically had to bail out the US banks because the US is the world's hegemony, right? And they call the shots. So I think you're actually going to see quite a disconnect between countries like China and countries like the United States. And what's interesting was the market that I'm most interested in here to follow this now is going to be the Canadian dollar. So, do we start to see some serious destruction in the Canadian dollar here? Because, in essence, they always say in currency land, if you didn't know this before, maybe write this down, that uh, there is no value to these fiat currencies. I think you all know that. It's half the reason why we're in this damn Bitcoin to begin with. Um, and really, the only value that these fiat currencies have is the quote unquote full faith of the fill in the blank government. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is that the full faith of the fill in the blank government is you them paying you interest to actually hold their paper. So as it's been for probably a better part of 5-10 years now, maybe even longer. The spread between U.S. interest rates and the rest of the world, of course, a lot of you all sort of got used to a world where interest rates were ridiculously low. That's actually pretty abnormal, and you probably won't see that kind of environment for the rest of your life. The U.S. economy, I think, is firing on all cylinders. We showed you the econs that came out today. I don't see any signs of weakness there whatsoever. And I think the services side of the economy is just going to absolutely boom. And interestingly enough, too, it will be interesting to see how many of these services for the baby boomers actually the jobs get taken over by robots, which of course will be even more profitable for these companies. And of course, the companies that are supplying microchips and the facilitating all this AI, things like NVIDIA and stuff like that. How are they going to do going forward? And interestingly enough, NVIDIA is just dominating here. So I do find it fascinating that the scuttlebutt. The word was that Mr. Druckenmiller abandoned his NVIDIA long position. You never know. I mean, the great part about Stanley, and actually, this is one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about in a bit. But the great part about Stanley is he's, strong convictions loosely held. So if I've actually seen him do it in the past, and read Market Wizards books, great examples of it. He would be like, I am super bullish of this, and then a week later, somebody would turn up and say, "Hey, how's that long bet going in that thing that you were super bullish about?" And he's like, "Oh, actually, I changed my mind. I liquidated the whole position." It's like, what? And then a month later, he could be, "Well, actually, the situation's not so bad. I got right back in." So I am a little surprised that Stanley did basically publicly announce that he liquidated his whole NVIDIA position. I mean, I can completely understand. You look at the stock, and the silly stock is basically going parabolic here. So I do understand that we're probably near the end game of whatever the hell this big blow off move is in tech. But look at that. Just tech is just green everywhere. Interesting. The only red here is Cisco. Good old Cisco. CISCO. That's the way we Cisco. I used to sing that back in in the 1990s when Cisco was all the rage. Kind of, man, I sure date myself with that. Anyway, so it feels as though we're in this kind of environment, right? Where tech is now catching a bid, and brick and mortar is kind of like, man, sanguine, like shit. All these old, hey, do you remember Kraft Foods, Procter and Gamble? Like, ironically enough, these were the Nifty 50 stocks that did really well like 100 years ago. So, I mean, the Nifty 50, so I guess 80 years ago, right? So it is interesting to see how these guys are just not really doing much here in this kind of economy. But oh boy, look at this craziness. And of course, where does Bitcoin fall in all of this? It falls right in here. So, strong opinions, loosely held. I was hunting shorts against the top end of the range here, happy little shorts, all that kind of stuff. But full disclosure, and actually, this is a really cool, so just finish off this thought here, just very quickly. Like Stanley, I'm not ever married to any position, ever, right? I'll strap it on, risk against the highs. If we break the highs, boom, I'm gone, take my lumps, walk away, positions closed, trades over. There's going to be a lot of people, of course, that, they don't like hearing, people that they think walk on water, which of course I certainly do not. Um, Thank you, Chris. Publicly admit, look, I was wrong. You're wrong. Get the hell out. I mean, half of this job in this game is risk management. And actually, it was cool. Even somebody, actually a long time site participant, who now, and this is the great part about what we do at TRI is we actually build some pretty damn good traders. This gentleman in particular, when I put these tweets out, I often black out their names because, I just want to keep their sort of identity relatively private. But this gentleman here, he actually runs a fund, right? He's actually got a full-on fund. And he even said, I've got my own fund and managing my own business and all that. And, he just simply, we were talking this morning about risk management and how you act and how you behave when you're wrong actually will dictate how long you survive at this game. So don't ever, my big message for everybody here is don't ever feel badly about saying, you know what, I was wrong. This trade didn't work. Got to get the hell out of there, take my loss and move on and just keep the losses manageable. I mean, the irony of it all is that you in the very same breath, you might have some crazy ass little other investment that goes in doubles, triples, quadruples, whatever. And all of a sudden, you got handed all of the money that you lost back like instantly. I mean, that's the way this crazy market works. And you kind of forget about these kind of things over time. So, I just the point that I would just make is that market basically proved me wrong here. We don't have a top. These are the Bitcoin futures. We just broke this high. And on that event, I was like, you know what? Probably best thing to do, just, hop off to the sidelines. It's a trader's life. Get used to it. You will never be right 100% of the time. Just get used to it. Having said that, and we looked at the hot part of the market right now, tech. I mean, and this is not only green, but this is insane green. Look at these stocks have 5% on the day. Stocks aren't supposed to make 5%. What the hell? In fact, actually, I was trying to get in on this damn Intel and I can't get filled down there in the 20s. Every time it gets down into this sort of $30 area, damn, the bids come in and bid the damn thing back up. But anyway, so I really don't have a problem with the market moving higher here. I mean, the market will do any old damn thing at once. Been covering my shorts, and as I said there a moment ago, actually booking profits in altcoin land, and feeling as though the market, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of W's coming in all over the place here. So it's happening. Here we are. What is it? It's the beginning of June. This process of bottoming, it should go on through the month of June. I mean, nothing's ever straight line up. I would expect that by the time we get into July, that we're into the sort of summer silly season. That's what I like to call it in crypto. And that means that the bases need to come in here. These things need to start Wing. And if you do see W's, well, then you got to start working like Wyckoff check bids, reload zones, all that kind of fun stuff, and get in there and have some fun. And ironically enough, I do have this portfolio, little old lady assets, and then of course I also have Sjord in his higher quality FA sort of driven names. But I've talked to you guys about this. There's some fantastic looking ideas, even in the senior-ish. I don't know whether you call hello senior-ish, but I mean, look at what's going on here. I mean, I don't know whether I would call that a W on the other side of the trend line, but if we have any kind of weakness over the next 2 or 3 weeks and W start coming in here, I'm going to be in here buying like a son of a gun. Sjord told you that look at, you can see we're at 88.6 here. Sjord told you yesterday in the TRI CTO report that he was in there buying and taking advantage of these cheap prices. for the big FA portfolio. This is pretty sizable, hundreds of thousands, which for us is a bit of money. I remember the other day I was telling you guys, I was like, and I even put tweets out, if I was going to teach a course on how to trade, this is the one I would tell you about, right? And gee whiz, there it goes. It's starting to pop. So, I look at this route. I mean, look at that. It's just absolutely perfect. All I got to do is just wait for this thing to pop up through this high, and away we go. So they're coming in. This is the whole conversation of, do you have your shit together? I don't really like to swear on YouTube, but anyway, point here is these W's are coming in all over the place, and I hope you're ready, right? And of course, pop on over to the after party. That's where we sort of dig into this stuff in more detail every Tuesday, of course. If you are crypto oriented, we have what I would consider one of the best crypto analysts out there under our staff. And interestingly enough, that gentleman that I was showing you his post about how he's running a fund, he actually volunteered to come over to TRI, and he's running a gamified fund now at TRI for us. So, I mean, it's like a win-win all around. We've got all of the capital all lined up. I think we have a pretty good education program if you do feel like coming and learning how to run a small business of trading. And now we have, I guess, 4 of us running little individual portfolios on the site, Julian, myself, Sjord, and Sunny. And just where I'm having the most fun in the market right now is this FUD's SOL. I mean, the gang funded me with $500 back in January, and now I'm up almost 300% on this account. And this thing here, it doesn't even take into account all the assets that are in this. It's so bizarre how these damn DeFi sort of portfolio managing sites and stuff like that work. But anyway, this doesn't show all of the assets. So actually, I think the total assets of this account are well over 1,500. So I mean, what the hell? 300% return in 6 months. Let's see if you can do that kind of business on Wall Street. And this is why I like to play venture cap, because I mean the returns can be absolutely ridiculous. So what was I doing here this morning? Actually, this is one that I'm thinking about buying. This is a nice little W, pull back against the lows. This thing's got just an absolute bazillion coins out. So be careful if you're going to do anything in this space. But names that I was even talking to you guys all about this funny Zach. This Zach now is actually doubled just since the weekend. I mean, are assets supposed to double in like 2 or 3 days? Well, in crypto they do, that's for sure. Do love this wand. Oh my goodness, this wand chart. I mean, if anything, this was my treat to everybody today. I went and picked up a little bit more of that, but look at that chart. I mean, that's everything that I teach you guys. And so, yeah, I was in there on the buy side this morning. I added to my bag here on this thing. What a pretty little chart. Just absolutely perfect. So, that's the kind of market. If I see a chart like that looks like this, there's no way in hell I'm going to be bearish. I do like the idea of having, some hedges on if we're at the top of the range on things like Bitcoin, just in case the market does puke out. But as I showed you earlier, we're pressing the new high, so the damn market looks pretty darn strong. And then I go and look at shitcoin land and I see charts that look like this. And I'm like, holy crap. I want to be in there on the buy side, please. I mean, I take it for its worth. This is 120% speculation. There's no blue chip about any of this. You are not investing. You are speculating. You're having fun. But what do you think the statistical odds are if I go and buy some of this thing at 13 cents that I could see, 25, 30 cents somewhere down the road, which is right here. I sell half of it, get my original capital back, and then I've got 100% risk-free trade. And who knows? Wicks and tails like to be eaten. That's like literally 10x just going back and testing these highs. And you want to see how crazy this market is? There was one that Stephen was telling us about, And I mean, I mean, this is the I think, is this the state of our society that they actually name their thing "Let's fucking go"? I mean, that's crazy. You're not supposed to swear in the name of your asset of all things, but look at what these markets are doing. So this is where, like, these are these comparative highs. Like, we could look at this, like, that one that I was just showing you and say, well, do you think wicks and tails are going to be taken out here? Or do you think wicks and tails are going to be taken out here? And boom, look at that. And of course, I've still got my bid here at the original double bottom, but I'm still waiting. Do you think I missed the trade? So if you want to make some money, I mean, understand this is 100% speculation. Don't get me wrong, folks. But if you want to make some money, the next year, year and a half, this is your window, folks. It's here, it's now. And I'm not going to stand in front of this. If anything, I'm just going to try and sneak in there and pick up as many of these positions down at the bottom end of the range as I possibly can. And, this is exactly the same thing. Do you think this thing's got any kind of chance to double here? And V tops, well, by definition, what can somebody help me over on YouTube? Maybe we'll finish off the video on this. V tops by definition should be what? And that's one hell of a big wick up there. I'm not saying that this thing's going to it, but if I can sneak in, grab a little bit down here, sell half on a double, and then they go and do this craziness, well, it's just gravy. So it shouldn't surprise you to see it here. Brian actually is in here nibbling away on a name that looks like this. And at the same time, too, this isn't a good example because I didn't get in on this one. But what was that one that I was banging out here this morning? Can't even remember now. How was it? All right, now I look like an idiot. But the point here is, there it is, win. I need a win. You gotta love the names of this thing. It's so irreverent. But look at that. What a pretty chart. This is exactly what that franc, right? You could argue that franc is right down here doing this now, and I'm buying this. And the win is the pop. And I'm selling half on a double. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Let's see if this thing buys me a Lambo. I've already got a free position established. I have no risk on this thing whatsoever. And now just the wind is at my back and I have no idea where the hell this thing's going. Isn't that a great way to play the market? Seems to me it's pretty solid. All right. Have yourselves a great day. We'll head on over and hang out in the after party a bit and chit chat. As you can see, this market is waking up. So I sure hope you got your act together. You got all your money in place. You've got the exchanges and the sites and stuff all put into place. You understand the risk management model that you're operating. You understand on what the reasons are that get you to act. And for God's sakes, folks, this is your window. It's happening right now. So get out there and have some fun. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. PMA for the win. And the only thing left for us is bye for now.